Hi everyone, welcome back to Planet Dirt. My name is Alicia and today is going to be a little different from my normal videos. So today I'm actually asking for help. I'm asking for your advice because along this back wall here are all of my grapevines and one of them keeps falling over. The entire thing just falling over. I'll post a short that I posted of it just laying on the ground, basically. So I'm going to get in there and show you what I'm working with. But first, a little backstory. So when we first bought this house, this entire back wall, it starts back there. It goes all the way to that corner. This entire back wall had Virginia creeper planted on it. And they're big, beautiful vines, but they are very invasive. You can't eat the fruit that comes off of them. They have little red berries on them. You can't eat them. They're toxic. And they're toxic to animals. So not only was I worried about having so many of them along this wall with having 2 dogs in my house, they were taking up a lot of space. And they were everywhere. So they were only planted along this back wall, and they had been going for so many years that they had crept along that fence all the way, like almost into our front yard. And they just keep going and going and going. All right, so 3 years ago, we ripped all of them out and we replaced them with these grapevines. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 that we put up 3 years ago. And then these are on their second year. There's 2 smaller plants down there that are only on their second year. And these ones look absolutely beautiful. Their fruit looks awesome. They're looking great. But it is quite windy, as you can see. My hair blowing all over the place, and you can see the vines moving. And I think the foliage has gotten so dense that the wind is actually catching it and pushing on it now. So let's get in there and I'll show you what I'm working with. All right, so my husband built these lovely trellises out of cedar, and they still look great. They're looking awesome. But what has happened is these nails were in here from when the Virginia creeper was in here, and where these were planted are not really lined up with those because the Virginia creeper was just planted like literally every 2 feet. There was no rhyme or reason to how much of it had grown. We had to dig out so many root systems. It was insane. And honestly, we still fight it in some places. I think I can probably find you an example really quickly. And there it is. So this is the very last grapevine that we planted on the far left. And then just to the left of that, there is more of that vine that we ripped out. And last year, it climbed all the way up this tree. It was climbing in the tree, and we couldn't see it until it was really, really bad. And so we ripped it out towards the end of the season, but at that time, it had already grown really tall and had stored all of that energy in the roots. And so now we're dealing with it again this year. So that is on the agenda for this week, to pull that out and try to get rid of it. But back to the original problem. So these are the trellises. This is what they look like. And you can see this one because one of the vines on this, one of the main stems, broke off last year. So this one's a little more sparse. So it's a better example for you to see the actual trellis. But what we did with these is we just attached them to a T-post. And sunk the T-post into the ground, and we thought that was going to work out really well. And it did for the first couple of years. But now we are 3 years later, and I have picked up these 2 vines. This one in particular, I picked up 3 times in the last week. This one I picked up once. And I've secured them to these nails, but I've secured them using twine. The twine broke. I secured them using wire. The wire has since broken, and I have a heavier duty wire, but I'm scared to use it because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on the vines themselves. Does that make sense? So I want these to still be able to move a little bit with the wind, right? I don't want to like anchor them down and like suffocate them in place. But honestly, these nails are not anywhere near the center of these trellises. So what I'm trying to do is get ideas for what to hold us over this season until the fall and we can re-secure everything. Because the problem is these plants are so big right now. These plants are so big right now that if we try to take the T-posts out with the trellis and re-secure everything, we risk pulling out the plant or damaging the vines that have a ton of grapes on them right now. So I'm trying to use the least abrasive approach that I possibly can in hopes that I can save the grapes, because worst case, these things keep falling over, I'm going to lose the grapes anyway. So I'm trying to just get through this season to when I can harvest the grapes. And then once it gets cold and the leaves start falling off, then we can rethink the whole trellis system and make sure that it's secured for next year. But we can't do that until we harvest. So if you have any thoughts, ideas, what have you done in the past? Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to see what other people have done. The T-post on one of these, it literally just like bent in half, like at the soil level, because there was just so much weight on it. And I think it's just heavier than it's ever been. And it just fell over under its own weight. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm super interested to read your comments, and I hope I see you next time. Bye.